Remember that you don't know what guise the one in Christ might appear as to test you. He might even be guised as someone in need of some serious help. Don't forget, don't overload the plugs too, because it's a fire hazard and this could happen. Christ could even be guised as a poor person in need of some serious dental care. So kids, be sure to brush your teeth after eating all that Christmas
is what
candy,
happens when you eat too much candy. Candy! This happens. It is called no teeth, a rotted teeth. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Remember that Christmas is all about joy, laughter, fun, and family. Don't get caught up in all the commercialization of it, and you forget to let your hair down and have some cheer.
At school. How do you like it?
Christmas is also about taking the time to have some playtime, rest and relax. R&R, sleigh riding, and if you can't go out sleigh riding, or there's no snow on the ground, riding along in a one-horse sleigh, as they sing about. You can at least imagine that you are. Remember, the one in Christ might also appear at the door as a carol, so take the time to enjoy some good music too.
Cloth restored.
This is your radio apologists, the covertcosmiccruiser from
We have several special relay stations to transmit to the world for the first time.
a radio show being done by one of Santa Claus's oldest and chief elves.
He wishes to remain unnamed because he doesn't want to get in trouble. What he is going to do is
Roll back layers of time like blankets of snow.
In order to reveal earlier and almost forgotten traditions and customs of Christmas's past, feels that the true meaning behind modern Christmases have been buried deep under materialism and commercializationism to the point where many earlier simpler customs and beliefs have been exiled during Xmas time.
So he's going to take us on a journey through time to bring your Christmas back to the century. We're gonna have something now. We're trying to boost and correct the signal and clear it up. That's a little bit better. He's using the North Pole as a radio tower to transmit. Here we go. Clear it up.
How much time? So
Better.
listen carefully. Layers of time are folded back. We'll begin to see how the different pieces of the puzzle fit together to reveal the whole picture behind the mystery. How, when, why, and what way did the early Christian doctrine of Christ's worldwide trek begin to be announced by later legends and traditions about Santa Claus's worldwide trek? Why did Santa Claus travel throughout the world on Christmas Eve? And why does he give gifts to good boys and girls?
Understand, slow him down, Robati.
Yes, sir. Slow him down.
Also make sure that the universal translator is going.
Yes, sir.
Clues to later legends and earlier legends.
In many German homes, when the family had gathered around the Christmas tree, the Christkindl would arrive.
Slow him down, Robati.
Yes, sir.
Youth plays the role, but often a young girl with long blonde hair. Out. Dressed in a white robe, a golden crown, and golden wings, she often carries a small Christmas tree in one hand. Christmas gifts for children are often tied up in bundles and supposedly delivered by Der Haus Kreis. Thus, many German people believe that a messenger, a young female angel named Christkindl, brings presents from the baby Jesus on Christmas Eve. The name Christkindl became another name for Santa Claus in North America, while many other people call Santa Claus Kriss Kringle. In early Christian artworks of the Christ child, in some cases, he holds a globe of the world in his arms. In other cases, he is the King of Kings, holding an orb. On some of these spheres are maps of the world. In other artworks, he is an adult male seated on a globe. These globes and orbs symbolize how the Christ child, or in some cases he is an adult Christ, how that he is the ruler of the world. That's what these globes and orbs symbolize. January 1891. On the front piece of the first number of the Strand magazine is a small female holding a Christmas tree while descending through the woods towards a town. Back then, she was called Santa Claus. The earlier reference to artworks about the Christ child holding orbs or globes are interesting to consider with that of the later artwork by Thomas Nast. In 1889, he published a drawing of the Christ child as a small female with a crown of holly with red berries. In her arms is a globe of the world, and a dove sits on this globe. A ribbon extends from her hands, and on this ribbon is the words, "Peace on earth, goodwill towards men." From 1863 through 1886, Nast sketched a new picture of Santa Claus each year for Harper's Weekly. Because of his German background, he occasionally drew Christkindl, whom he called Christkindl. By the 1870s, Kriss Kringle was known by another name, Santa Claus. But why was Kriss Kringle an earlier version of Santa Claus? And how is Christkindl wrapped up with all these traditions about Kriss Kringle and Santa Claus? During the 1850s, German immigrants brought these traditions about Christkindl when they came to New York. Earlier in the 1840s, a few publications appeared and began to circulate among the Americans concerning this Kriss Kringle. Upon hearing the Germans speaking of this Christkindl, it sounded to them like Kriss Kringle. Thus, it was during the 1840s through the 1850s that this name was in the process of becoming popularized in the media of that time. However, who is Christkindl, and what does his name mean among the German people? Numerous stories tell of different families and persons around the world who were visited by the wandering Christ child. A number of nations have popularized lighting the way for the wandering Christ child. Thus, they place a lit candle in the window as a sign to the wandering Christ child and other homeless wanderers that they would be welcome there. The Irish place a lighted candle in their windows, thinking that they would provide a glimmering light to guide the wandering Christ child to their homes. It was during the Christmas season's cold, dark nights that he would be out alone in the darkness and required to be lighted on his journey throughout the world.